So a large part of your job as a development executive is to separate the superstorms from the slumdog millionaires, and slightly more generally, the writers who write Superstorm from the writers who can write Slumdog Millionaire. And the easiest way to do this, obviously, is to read all of the scripts, but that's frankly impossible. If you're reading 500 screenplays in a year, you are reading a lot, and it's still only a small percentage of what's out there. Fundamentally, it's triage. And when you're in triage, you tend to default to conventional wisdom about what works and what doesn't. That a comedy about a young woman dealing with reproductive reality can't sell. That the story of an Indian teenager isn't viable in the domestic marketplace or anywhere else in the world outside of India. That the only source of viable movies is a very narrow group of writers who have already found their way to living and working in Hollywood, who already have the best representation in the business, and are writing a very narrow band of stories. So I had to do something. So late one night in my office, I made a list of everyone that I had had breakfast, lunch, dinner, or drinks with that had jobs similar to mine, and I sent them an anonymous email. And I made a very simple request. Send me a list of up to 10 of your favorite screenplays that meet 3 criteria. 1, you love the screenplay. 2, the filmed version of that screenplay will not be in theaters by the end of that calendar year. And 3, you found out about the screenplay this year. Now, almost all of the 75 people I emailed anonymously responded. I slapped a quasi-subversive name on it and emailed it back from that anonymous email address to everyone who voted, the Blacklist, and found that this list that I had created anonymously had been forwarded back to me several dozen times at my personal email address. Everyone was sharing this list of scripts that everyone had said that they loved, reading them and then loving them themselves. And then I realized that this thing that I had created had a lot more value than just me finding good screenplays to read over the holidays. And so I did it again the next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and I've done it every year since 2005. Very quickly, the writers whose scripts were on that list started getting jobs, those scripts started getting made, and those scripts that got made were often the ones that violated the assumptions about what worked and what didn't. There were scripts like Juno, and Little Miss Sunshine, and The Queen, and The King's Speech, and Spotlight, and yes, Slumdog Millionaire. There have been about 1,000 screenplays on the Blacklist since its inception in 2005. About 325 have been produced. They've been nominated for 300 Academy Awards. They've won 50. 4 of the last 9 Best Pictures have gone to scripts from the Blacklist, and 10 of the last 20 Screenplay Oscars have gone to scripts from the Blacklist. And that conventional wisdom, maybe, just maybe, might be wrong to even greater consequence. Films about black people don't sell overseas. Female-driven action movies don't work because women will see themselves in men, but men won't see themselves in women. That no one wants to see movies about women over 40. That our on-screen heroes have to conform to a very narrow idea about beauty that we consider conventional. What does that mean when those images are projected 30 feet high and the lights go down for a kid that looks like me in Columbus, Georgia? Or a Muslim girl in Cardiff, Wales? Or a gay kid in Chennai? What does it mean for how we see ourselves and how we see the world and for how the world sees us? We live in very strange times. And I think for the most part, we all live in a state of constant triage. There's just too much information, too much stuff to contend with. And so, as a rule, we tend to default to conventional wisdom. And I think it's important that we ask ourselves constantly, how much of that conventional wisdom is all convention and no wisdom, and at what cost?